Hi, welcome to the Rittners Floral School in Boston, Mass. I'm Dr. Steve Rittner, and it's a pleasure to welcome you into one of our classrooms today. The time of the year, it's early winter, and this lesson, and it's going to be a how to do it one, is going to be how to put together a rather large and impressive floral design for your loved one on Valentine's Day, and yet we're only going to use 6 roses. That's right, only 6 roses. Yet it's going to be big, it's going to be impressive, and it's going to be funky. You're going to love this one. Now, before we start the design, let me show you some of the things we're going to be playing with. Obviously, we're going to be playing with some roses, but I'm going to deliberately pick non-red. I'm going to pick a white rose, and I'm only going to use half a dozen of these. And we're going to mix it with another flower, one of my favorite flowers, anthurium. They're big, they're showy, they're shaped like a heart, which means that they are perfect in terms of Valentine's Day. I've got some red anthurium we're going to play with on this design. We're also going to play with, on this design, some of our aspidistra leaves. These are big, they're funky, they're showy, and what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to take them, I'm going to kind of bend them over on themselves, and I'm going to tie them. And I'm going to do this to a few of these that we're going to be using on this design. You don't have to do anything fancy, just take them and bend them over on themselves and tie them. Aspidistra leaves work well on this. Also, tie leaves or tea leaves can be also used in place of them. And then there's one other item that we're going to play with on this. These are really, really cool. These are called midollino sticks. They're made available to us by the happy people at Smithers Oasis. They are really, really cool. They're very flexible. So again, we can take these and we can bend them, we can twist them, we can do all kinds of cool things, and we're going to take some of these and tie them very similarly as we just showed you with the aspidistra leaf with some of our 23 or 24 wire. We're going to use a few of these in the design. Notice that we're starting this design with a very large container. This is not a teeny tiny one, it's a big one. If you're going to do a big design, sometimes it pays to have a big container, and this is a very contemporary, funky container. We're going to show our affection to a loved one. We're going to do it big, and we're going to use a fairly large base to work it in. We have our foam in place here, and we're just about ready to go. And I think you're going to enjoy this one. We have a belief here at Rittners Floral School, I feel very strongly, that floral designing should be quick, easy, and fun. And therefore, where I feel that floral designing should be quick, easy, and fun, we're going to show that in this design. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking our materials and we're going to be working them in. And I'm starting with my anthurium. I'm starting with my anthurium on the top left side of the base. So you can see it doesn't take much, and this really gives a very cool effect. So with several of our anthurium, we're definitely making a statement. I'm going to take a third anthurium, and we're going to take these, we're going to cut them down, we're going to use them, and I think you'll find that this will give us a very neat effect as well. I'm going to place this one a little bit lower than the first couple that we have in place. So with 3 anthurium, notice this thing is really starting to take shape. I haven't used my roses yet, but we will very shortly. And with 3 of my flowers, we're starting to make a presence. Now, I'm also going to make use of some of these aspidistra leaves that we had taken and we have folded and bent the way we started and showed you. And so we're going to take a few of these and start working them in as well. These are going to help us cover our mechanics, but also give a very kind of a cool effect as well. And I want to take one of these and place it right over here. I'm going to place a second one, and I'm going to place it in a little bit closer, overlapping with the first. That's the neat thing about these things. You can come up with some really cool and funky effects when you start playing with these kinds of mechanics. Let's take another aspidistra leaf, and I'm going to work this one up on the top, and it's going to be placed right about here. In other words, I'm going to intertwine it with my anthurium. And then I'm going to take another one that I have here, and I'm going to work this one over here as well. So notice, folks, that with only, let's move this just a little over to one side, with only 4 of our aspidistra leaves, how that's really giving a very, very cool effect to our design. So we've got something going on really nice over here. But let's extend it and let's start making use of some of our roses, because I did say that the big thing on this design is we want to only use 6 roses. Generally, when we think in terms of Valentine's Day, we think in terms of a dozen roses. Or we may think in terms of 1 rose. I want you guys to see how you can get out of the box and think in terms of fewer than that number to come up with still a pretty darn interesting and funky effect. And so I'm going to use only a half a dozen in this design. And I'm going to stagger several. I'm going to put one out a little bit farther, one coming in a little bit closer, like here. And I'm going to place another one coming in closer right over here. So notice that we've started up here on this side. We're going to place some of our roses over onto the other side. We have 3 so far. I know, my reviewer, that you're thinking, well, he said 6, so let's get a few more in. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to place another one coming in closer still, in between this one and this one, but coming in closer towards my base. And I'm going to place another one right over here, and still another one right over here towards the front, like so. In other words, we're coming up with a very, very interesting kind of grouping of these. But notice, only 6, and not red. Now let's take our anthurium, and I'm going to place another anthurium in here, and I'm going to place the anthurium right here, smack dab right here. So I'm going to intertwine it. So it almost looks like our anthurium is going in one direction and our roses are coming up in the other direction. Now notice I still have a space over there. I'm going to go back and take a little bit more of my aspidistra and place one of these right in here, coming in fairly close. So we got a nice rhythmic flow that's going on there as well. Now we could stop at this point if we wanted to, but wait, there's more. Let's play with it just a little bit more. Remember, I showed you that we had some of the midollino sticks and that we could loop them and do some cool things with them. Let's take a batch of them and start playing with them. And so I'm going to place one here to create a balance to what we have going on over here. I'm going to take another batch of midollino sticks and I'm going to work it right up here. So we've got something here, we've got something over there. And then I can also take some of my midollino sticks and I can literally tie them together. In other words, I can take just some loose pieces, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to tie it together with a little bit of wire. I'm using around 23 or 24 wire on this. And then I'm going to work this one right in here. And I have to kind of get this in between some of my other stuff here, and it's kind of hard when you're working upwards on this, but here we've got this. So we have the illusion that this is actually literally going through onto that side. Now obviously we want to make sure that our mechanics are nice and clean and covered, although from this angle everything does appear clean and covered. We could take a little bit of our moss. I have a little Spanish moss. We call it affectionately here at Rittners Stephen hair because it resembles what's left of my hair, and I'm going to put a little of this in, tuck it in, and then attach it using a hairpin or 2 of 20 wire. And notice we have a lovely arrangement. At Rittners Floral School, we believe that floral designing should be quick, easy, and fun. Look at this. If you think about it, it's very, very contemporary. Not for somebody with classical tastes, but for somebody who is really with it and interested and likes funky type things. This works very, very well. It has roses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only 6 roses. 4 of our anthurium. Only 10 flowers in this arrangement, plus a little bit of foliage and some midollino sticks, a funky container, and you've got a very, very impressive, big, beautiful arrangement for a loved one on Valentine's Day. And then when she's through, when the flowers finally go on her, she has a lovely keepsake container that you can come back and refill with other great stuff. What do you think, my viewer? Quick, easy, and fun. The Rittner Floral School way. We hope you enjoyed this brief demonstration. On behalf of all of us here at Rittners Floral School, we thank you for coming in and visiting with us today.